The Bacillus thuringiensis gene, also known as the Bt gene, is a naturally occurring bacterium that produces a protein toxic to certain types of insects. The gene inside the bacterium responsible for producing the beta gene toxin can be transferred to crops, thereby making them resistant to corresponding insects.
Bt gene is a gene that enables an organism to protect itself against some group of insects. They are called lepidopteran insects. These are chewing insects and is restricted to only those ones. So any plant that has this gene in it will be able to protect itself against this invasion of these insects.
In Nigeria, the Bt gene has been used as a solution to problems of cowpea farming and that of cotton as well. For cowpea, the beta gene has been utilized for the crop's resistance to the maruca insect, also known as a pot borer, which preys upon the cowpea plant. And in cotton, the beta gene gives resistance to the crop against the pink bollworm.
You know, in every society, modification is the best. And when you modify your crops in terms of agriculture, it means that you are aiming for certain qualities and certain benefit. Part of it, when you modify it, is getting high yield, circumventing diseases that are affecting the crops, circumventing the insects that are devastating the crops. So all these have been the focus when we modify the cowpea and when we modify the cotton.
The integration of the beta gene into cowpea and cotton production in Nigeria stems from the gross damage incurred by farmers of the two crops for years. In the case of cowpea, the destruction caused by the maruca's infestation of cowpea plant results not just in reduction of yields, but also the quality of harvest, as losses could be up to 80% in severe cases. For cotton, on the other hand, the infestation of the pink bollworm on cotton plantations has made farmers lose tons of harvest, making farming the commodity a nightmare for many. The use of conventional insecticides to control these pests are not only expensive, but the availability is limited. Farmers also lack proper skills in their usage, thereby posing safety challenges. This narrative began to change in 2018 with the National Committee on Naming, Registration and Release of Crop Materials, also known as the Varietal Release Committee's approval for the commercial release of two Bt cotton varieties. The approval for the commercial release of the Bt cowpea variety followed shortly in 2019.
Reduction in insecticide spray and then high yield. It gives you high yield because they are already protected from the insects, those insects. In the case of cotton is the pink bollworm. In the case of cowpea is the Maruca vitrata larva. Larva is a caterpillar. So at the caterpillar stage, that Maruca is the butterfly. The common name is butterfly that we know. And so the butterfly, when it gets to, that's during its developmental stage, when it gets to that caterpillar stage, it destroys the pods, the leaves of cowpea, and then, that is it. For the farmer may lose almost everything that he has actually cultivated. But thank God to this technology, thank God to that, the Bacillus thuringiensis gene that has actually given back life to farmers, giving them high yields, because once the plant is protected from what damages it, what causes losses and what Of course, once they are protected, that is it. You will have the normal yields that actually you should have, actually have access to, had access to. And so I can go on and on. For the cotton, it can actually help Nigeria to revive or revamp the textile industry that are already marrow-bound.
Not that the gene itself increases yield, but because it addresses a constraint, which is the insect attack. Now the yield is going to increase bountifully, and ultimately the essence is that the farmers can produce more and generate more income through the sales, and the consumers will have more to eat.
Since the commercial release approvals for the two commodities, there have been open field trials by farmers across the country. Farmers who have planted the BT cotton, for example, say it gives superior lint with good quality, high fiber strength, and much more cotton balls. A sharp deviation from what obtained with the conventional cotton varieties, which was characterized by stunted growth and high pest infestation. With the BT cotton, farmers now harvest up to 4 tons per hectare, compared with the old varieties, which yielded just 1 ton per hectare.
The experience, particularly in this 2021 wet season, of the BT cotton that we have planted has been, in fact, you can now see why the eagerness is there amongst our farmers. It's fantastic. Fantastic in the sense that we had, for instance, some areas where, unfortunately, we had some, the rain pattern, or rainfall rather, was not as expected, and then, of course, the break in rain. But we found that the cotton, because we enjoyed, at least we planted, germination rate almost 100%, and because, of course, moisture had gotten into it earlier on, and it had gained some strength, that they survived that period.
Cotton farmers who erstwhile abandoned planting the commodity for soybeans and sesame due to low yields are now embracing the crop once again and even considering expanding their farms.
We will roll out the seed to them. As an association, they expect and they are counting on us to be able to give them this BT cotton. Like I said, during the trial period, some farmers, of course, from our association participated. They saw the difference. In yield, like I tell you, on average, the farmer that sources his or her seed on their own are getting maybe 400, 500 kg per hectare. With this BT, your minimum is 2 metric tons. And if you are able to carry out and maintain your farm accordingly, following the best agricultural practices that we also try to impact on our farmers, we're talking almost close to 4 tons that you can make. And so the farmers know what that means. That extra kg, they know what it means in terms of value, in terms of the money that comes into their pocket.
On the part of the BT Cowpea, the farmers have never had it so good. The massive transformation seen with the new variety has them now spraying their crops just twice as opposed to the 8 times previously sprayed. And what's more, harvesting is done within a shorter period of time.
Having grown cowpea before now and seeing the challenges that we have with very low yields, and the challenges of the Maruca worm and having to spray continuously all through the season, I'm very excited to be growing the BT cowpea. It's so much easier to grow because we spray far less. And also, it's very, very apparent that the Maruca does not affect the BT cowpea. And so the pods are cleaner. We're getting a lot better yields. The yields are much higher.
The BT cowpea is definitely seen by the farmers as a game changer in Nigeria's cowpea cultivation, as the level of the commodity's growth, earlier maturation, pod sizes, and resistance to pests is simply amazing. The farmers say it can't be compared with other varieties and the demand for the seeds by other farmers who have seen its yield performance and pest resistance is huge. The lockdown induced by COVID-19 and severe floods in agrarian states pushed down the country's food production. Cowpea was particularly badly hit and has seen a massive rise in costs owing to their decline. The massive cultivation of the BT cowpea is expected to hopefully help change this narrative and slash rising costs of beans.
If you are in Nigeria and you try to buy beans in the past year, you will see that the yield of the cost of beans has skyrocketed. And that's because a lot of farmers lost their crop last year, and it's because there was so much Maruca infestation. However, this year we planted the trials, and we have now planted also the commercials. It's in the market basically, and so we planted the seeds that we bought from the seed companies this year. It did excellently, and so of course now we can project, to be able to do commercial production of cowpea. And hopefully in the next few years, we'll see the prices of beans come down.
We cannot claim to be the giant if we cannot feed Africa. Even Africa is now looking upon us. And come the year 2050, when the population of the world will be almost 10 billion, there is no continent better placed than Africa to contribute to the global food security. And Nigeria being the giant in Africa, the contribution of Nigeria is going to be appreciated.
The BT cotton's output has shown Nigeria's cotton production could indeed be revived, and the farmers now want the authorities to help improve the state of the country's textile mills to prevent a glut in production.
Nigeria import a lot of fabric into the country. Now, our producing the cotton ourselves, and considering the number of moribund textile companies in Nigeria, with this enhanced production, most of these moribund textile companies will come back to life. More people will be employed. Definitely, that these companies will also pay tax.
With the successes already recorded in the BT cotton and cowpea production, the use of modern biotechnology is perceived by scientists as a necessary tool for tackling Nigeria's food and other crop production challenges. That should not be neglected in its entirety.
So what has happened is that in medicine, for instance, there has been the use of the GM in quote technology in medicine for many years. And many people, perhaps almost everybody, has at least one relative who has or has had diabetes, for instance. And then you'll find that insulin is one of such products that have been, that is a GMO, and people have been injecting, not even ingesting, but injecting it into their bloodstream directly for many years to stay alive and well. So I think when you see new technology is usually resisted anyhow, but it's not about, we shouldn't do so blindly.
Going forward, more seed companies are to be licensed to allow additional farmers access to the seeds ahead of future farming seasons. This also includes seeking private sector support towards a better distribution of the seeds across the nation. The efforts by the promoters of biotechnology in Nigeria towards enhanced agricultural productivity will definitely go a long way in helping actualize Mr. President's diversification objectives of increasing the country's non-oil GDP and foreign exchange earnings through agriculture.